everybody. This is Sarah with Sunflower Cottage Crochet. Welcome back. And today's tutorial is for, as you can see in front of you, the Crochets by Trista Eclectic Friendship Square. This is what it's going to end up looking like. Obviously, I have the pattern printed out in front of me. I wanted to go over, this is just the information page, not the written part of the pattern. But you will need a worsted weight yarn. Today I'm going to use Caron Simply Soft in just white. You'll need a 5.5mm crochet hook. I have my Furls Ebony Streamline to do that with today. You'll need measuring tape to make sure you get the correct sizing, which is 9 by 9, and all the other things needed, like yarn needle, scissors, blocking materials, which we do recommend for this. So she does provide the gauge of 12 stitches in 10 rows, and it doesn't say what the stitches are, but you know, as long as you can make the 9 inches, you're good to go. It also goes over what the abbreviations are, and then the notes say that a stitch count is provided at the end of each row. Blocking isn't necessary but is advised, and the border is done with the right side facing. Okay, so I'm going to get row 1 started. Well, flip this over and get you started for row 1 in just a moment. All right, I'm back and I'm ready to start row 1. And this is a really nice, simple pattern that is just one of those that you can just sit and crochet while you listen to either a podcast or whatever show you like to half watch, because we all know we don't actually watch anything in crochet. I mean, if you looked up and were like, so that's what Dean looks like on Supernatural. He's cute. I mean, that was my observation anyway. So it says to chain 36. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whoops, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. My yarn is gonna hang up. Don't you love that? There we go. Oh, that's why it has a slight knot. So I ended with 30, 31, 32, 3, 4, 5, and 36. So did my chain of 36. And now the instructions say to single crochet in the second chain from the hook and each one across. So you will have 35 single crochets, and that will be the right side of the work. So I'm going to get started. I like to turn mine over and grab the back hump so I have a nice flat edge to work into for borders, but you do what you do. And I'm just going to single crochet myself across the chain. This is kind of making it pretty loose to use such a large hook for the worsted weight yarn, especially Caron Simply Soft. It tends to be a lighter 4 than most other 4s. But we will manage. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish my row off camera, and then I will meet you back here for row 2. Okay, so I have row 1 completed, and now we're on to row 2, which says to chain 1 and turn, which I'm going to do. And then it says to single crochet in the first stitch. And then the repeat starts at single crochet chain 1 DC in the next stitch, and then to skip 2 stitches, and then you'll repeat that across. So while I get myself back in camera, I'm going to show you the single crochet in the next stitch. So single crochet, chain 1, double crochet all in this next stitch. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to do, whoops, the same thing. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. And then you're going to skip 2 again, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. If you've been watching me do these videos and working with this Care on Simply Soft, you already know what I'm going to say about this split of yarn. 1, 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Skip 2, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Well, I always want to chain 1. Oh, okay, skip 2. Single crochet in the next, chain 1, double crochet in the same. Skip 2, do a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet all in the same stitch. Skip 2, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Just to get more yarn. Okay, skip 2, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Skip 2, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Skip 2, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet all in the next. And for the end, you're just going to, after you skip 2 stitches, you're only going to single crochet in the last stitch. And that's what I will attempt to do now. There we go. All right, so there's the first row of clustery stitches, which I think is leaving a very pretty kind of floral look to it. The name of this stitch is eluding me, but I think I know what it is. If I ever figure it out, maybe I'll let you know. I was half thinking spider, but I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't think so. All right, so enough talk. This was the wrong side. So now we're going to work row 3. And I'm not even going to bother to stop here and restart. You can pause me if you need to. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And for row 3, you need to single crochet in the first stitch. And then we jump right into the repeat once again. So single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space from the previous row. And you're going to do that in each chain 1 space all the way across the row until you get to the last chain 1 space. You'll go ahead and work your normal cluster there and then put a single crochet in the very last stitch. So I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'll work a few on camera with you and then I will come back when it's done. So after we single crocheted in the first stitch, we're going to jump over to the chain 1 space and put a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that space. And then we're going to jump over to the next chain 1 space and do our cluster of the single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we're going to jump over to the next chain 1 space and do the same thing that we have been doing. All right, I'm going to jump over again. And I'm thinking I might as well just keep doing this on camera with you so you can kind of get the hang of how I'm spotting it. Okay, right there. I'm a single crochet, chain 1, double, all in that chain 1 space. So that's all I'm looking for is the chain 1 spaces. And then I'm going to work my stitch combo or cluster all in there. Okay, so I'm just like finding my leaning double and pulling things apart to find that chain 1 space to work into. Okay, and this, all your odd numbered rows are the right side. Okay, and once again I found my leaning double and there's my chain space. Okay, and that was my last chain space. So we skip over these this next stitch and work a single in the very last one. And that's how you finish out the row. So for row 4, you're going 4 and onward, I should say. You're going to repeat what we just did for row 3 until you have about 8.5 inches, ending on the wrong side. So you want to end on an even numbered row. So the 4th step after that is to chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to single crochet across. So once you have your 8.5 inches of working the row we just worked, get ready to turn your work, single crochet, and then we'll do a border. So after I have worked my square up to 8.5 inches, I will come back and then show you how to finish off this thing. But first, one more time to show you how to get started again on your next row. We're going to chain 1 and single in the first stitch, and then we're going to go into the chain 1 space and do our cluster. And then we're going to go into each chain 1 space once again and work our clusters. It'll come to a point where you won't even have to split the stitches to find the chain 1 space. You can just kind of gauge where it's going to be at and just stab things with your hook. Okay. So I hope that you can kind of see that. Like I said, I'm going to keep repeating what we've just been doing until I have 8.5 inches. And then I will come back and we will work step 4 and the border together to finish this puppy off. And I will see you in a moment. Alright, I'm back and I have the square worked up to roughly 8.5 inches. Don't fret if this isn't exactly, because like see here, I just pushed it out and it's like 9 inches on me, but really it's about 8.5-ish. Again, it's so stretchy that you're going to get the size you need just by molding it. And this way it came to roughly 8 inches. Now you can see that it curves in here, and I left that to show you because I think as you worked it, some of you might have started to panic, but you see how I'm literally just pushing the sides out and it's working out fine. Now as we work the border, all of this is going to get taken care of, as well as blocking. So there are ways to combat when stitch patterns pull funny on the fabric. So I'm going to zoom back in here. Okay, straighten you out a little bit. Okay, so once you have worked up the pattern, the row 3 repeat, up to the amount of inches that you needed, which was supposed to be 8.5, and you ended on the wrong side. To be honest, I don't know if I did or not. I kind of lost sight, but it all looks the same. So, and yeah. So we're going to start with step 4, which is to single crochet ourselves across. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but the reason I'm working that on camera with you is to kind of show you a couple of tips in case you're pretty new to crochet. So we're just going to start with a single in the very first stitch, and then I'm going to go into the next one. And you have a choice here with the chain space. You can either work into the chain, like so, or if you'd rather, you can always just work around it. And for speed, I would just work around it. So you know you're going to have a single, a double, and a chain. Single, and a double, and a chain to work into. So we're just going to single crochet ourselves all the way across, like so. And when you get to the end, don't fasten off. because at that point we're going to start immediately working on the border, which is single crocheting around, but there's a little something extra to do in each corner so that we turn the corner evenly. Okay, so I'm going to finish up my single crocheting around. I'm almost to the end. I guess I may as well just do that on camera. Alright, I'm getting close to the end here. We single crocheted ourselves across, and last stitch. Okay, so again, I mentioned not fastening off. So the instructions for working the border says to single crochet evenly around and then put 3 single crochet in each corner and then slip stitch to your first single. So while that might be simple to some, it's kind of tricky when you get back around to your border. So I mean your starting stitch, because technically that's the first one of your corner and also the last. Also I needed to trim my tie up here. I did a magic knot to join a bunch of different like, what do you call that, guys? My brain is dead. Scrap yarns, my scrap bits. I joined them all together and then I used my ball winder to make a cake. So yeah, I chose not to clip the ends at that time because I was being lazy. Okay, so to work the border, I know it says to just single crochet evenly around. Well, first you need to chain one, because otherwise you're gonna lose the stitch. It'll just kind of come undone, and we don't want that. So we're going to put 1 single crochet right away, right there. Now you have choices. You can try to count this out, or you can just eyeball it. And most people, I kid you not, will just eyeball it. Now I am not a fan of doing that, because then you get gap city. So I do tend to prefer to go into the stitch, like right between things. Okay, and anywhere I kind of see a spot, I'm going to put a single crochet. And again, because there's no actual number to work with, that makes it nice, because you can just evenly single crochet across. And I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you how to work that first corner. Okay. I split the stitch when I work into it like that, but as you can see, it does not make a big gaping hole when I do that, which again is why I do that, because I hate the gaping holes. If you kept count of your rows, you could always try to match that count in your bordering. But I believe that this square was intended to be nice and easy and pretty, and in my opinion, it accomplished that. Not that I'm an expert or anything, just saying, it's my opinion. I love working with yarn that splits. I really do. Otherwise I wouldn't do it, right guys? Okay. So as I continue to split this yarn to oblivion, hooray, I made it. All right, now I'm at my slip knot, so we don't actually want to work into that. You want to kind of work into, it's really like right in between all of it, I guess. I mean, if it makes you feel better so you don't have a little weird hole there, it does say to do it evenly. So you could just go in right here and put 3 single crochets. But if you're a stickler, like I can be, you'll want to actually start here. However, what you need to do is sort of play around with it. If you think that's going to look really bad to leave that alone, then you need to work into it. But you won't know. This yarn, I'm telling you, I'm going to fight it the whole way. All right. You're never going to know until you just work into it. It should be like outtakes or something, and it's going to keep doing it to me every time. So in essence, I just kind of shoved it behind, and it kind of closed that up a little bit too. So now I have my 3 in the corner. I'm actually okay with that. I'm happy with that, because that really is not a stitch. But that doesn't mean you couldn't use it. If it bothered you to the point, just use it. So I put my 3 single in that corner spot. Now I'm working along my bottom edge, and if you recall, I worked in the back hump, so I would have these 2 loops to work into, knowing, because I read the pattern ahead of time, that I would be making a border. So it seems so much easier to work into these nice 2 loops here. It's almost like I'm working into the tops of single crochets. You'll get the same effect if you do a foundation row, a foundation single crochet row. You'll have those 2 loops to work into as well. But anyway, it's not the most important thing in the world, but it does help it to have a clean look. And so because I did that working in the back humps, I don't have the single loop gap. Again, the gaps. There's a theme there, you know, I don't like big gaps. Where there shouldn't be any. Let me put it that way. I don't mind lacy work at all. I think that's quite pretty. But I do mind it when there's a gap that doesn't need to be there or shouldn't be there. Yeah. If I can prevent it from happening, I will. Okay, as I fumble my way across, constantly catching this yarn, I'm going to show you another corner that isn't a slip knot corner. And then I will finish up and meet you back where we will join up, so there's no confusion on how that's going to go down. Okay. Coming up on it here. Good Lord. The fight is so real, guys. The chain rows. Okay, so here I am at the last stitch of the bottom here, the chain row. And then this would be my next side stitch. So this is the corner that I'm going to put 3 in. And what that does is it basically, let me pull 2 out, right? Or all 3, that works too. Okay. So what it does is I've now worked the stitch, and now I'm adding a piece to make a nice even edge, and now I'm going to turn the work and make the corner. And so by putting 3 in, you've effectively caused yourself to turn. So now we're going to work into this next spot to start working back up. and there's already a gap here, but I'm still only going to grab like one little loop because you know me. So now I'm going to work myself back up. I'm going to work up this side. I'm going to put 3 in this top stitch. That'll be the corner. And then I'm going to work myself back across, and when I get to my very first one, I will meet up with you and then we will join, and it's way over here. So anyway, when I get to that point, I will meet up with you and I'll show you how I chose to join this up at the end, and then we will be done with the Eclectic Square. Okay, I have worked myself all the way around, and I wanted to point out a couple of things. One, this is open to interpretation when they sort of leave it like this, but some people say, well, you've worked the first side stitch, so you still need to put 3 in this top one, and I would agree in that because that's how I did do it. I am going to do that. Some people might say, well, that one on the side should count as a part of your corner, and so you would put 2 in and join. It's really going to depend on how things look for you. If that looks better, then that's what you should do, because there is no right or wrong answer on this one. But in my mind, I worked my first stitch on the side, and so this right here is actually my chain up and join, or chain up and then work over. So I'm technically in my last stitch, and I've worked 1 already, so I'm gonna work, I might work 2 more, okay, and then I'm gonna skip over that chain 1, and then I'm gonna slip stitch into the first one I worked on the side, okay, and that puts my 3 in the corner. And then to fasten off, I'm just going to chain up 1 and snip the yarn and pull it through and tight. Alright, so that is the Crochets by Trista Eclectic Square, and I hope that this was even just a little bit helpful to you guys. I'm going to zoom back out a little so you can see a little more of it. Now remember to block. I do highly recommend going ahead and blocking. This one should be pretty close to 9 by 9 as it is, and it is pretty forgiving as far as the stretchiness of the fabric goes, so you may not need to block it too much. And mine came out exactly 9 by 9 just sitting as it is, and I might block just to make it straighter, but then I may not, because it's gonna get worked and joined and it'll straighten up at that point anyway, and that's one less thing I have to do, right? So it's all in, you know, the person, what they choose to do. I don't know, I may still try and shore that up a little. I never know what I'm gonna do until suddenly I do it. All right, so I hope that was helpful, and I thank you all for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.